It all started with these scenes in the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood during Muslim holy month of Ramadan this year. Palestinian homeowners on one side, Jewish settlers and Israeli security forces asking them to leave their homes on the other. Tension escalated with disproportionate intervention of Israel claimed 254 Palestinian lives. Today, Israel's illegal settlement policy is one of the most important agenda items of the tension in the region. Residents of the Silvan neighborhood, which is adjacent to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, feel the tension in their bones. Israel has gradually expanded its occupation area in the country with the policies it has been carrying out since its establishment. International law orders Israel to leave the occupied territories as soon as possible. General consensus, including the UN Security Council Resolution 242, is to return to 1967 borders. But Israel does not take any steps in this regard, and it also continues to expand new settlement units. This illegal settlement policy, which concentrates in the occupied West Bank, does not slow down in East Jerusalem either.
Filistin-İsrail meselesinde kilit konuların başında işgal altındaki Doğu Kudüs geliyor. Filistinliler başkenti Doğu Kudüs olan 1967 sınırlarında bağımsız Filistin'in kurulmasını istiyor. İsrail ise Kudüs'ün tamamının kendisine ait olduğunu iddia ederek buna karşı çıkıyor.
The population of Palestinians living in the occupied East Jerusalem is nearly 346,000. The number of Jewish settlers living in the illegal settlement units is over 225,000. Israel demolishes houses of Palestinians in East Jerusalem under the pretext that they lack building permits. According to the report issued by B'Tselem, Israel destroyed 302 Palestinian homes in East Jerusalem since April 2009, citing that they're unlicensed. One of the areas that Israel has placed on the target board is the Silvan neighborhood.
İşgal altındaki Doğu Kudüs'te bulunan Silvan Mahallesi stratejik öneme sahip. Mescid-i Aksa'nın yanı başında yer alan Silvan Mahallesi'nde 55 bin Filistinli ikamet ediyor. Burada yaşayan Filistinli ailelerin birçoğu İsrail'in tehcir ve yıkım politikaları nedeniyle evlerini kaybetme tehdidiyle karşı karşıya.
Purpose of Israel's prolonged policies is to change the demographics in Silvan in favor of the Jews. Legitimizing the occupation through domestic legal channels tops the methods used. The process begins with Jewish settlers taking Palestinians in the neighborhood to court. They claim that the lands where Palestinians built their homes belong to Jews. In these demands, settlement associations such as the Ataret Kohanim and Elad, led by extremist Jewish settlers, take the leading role. Israeli courts often rule against the Palestinians. Currently, more than 700 Palestinians living in the Batn al-Hawa region inside Silvan are in danger of forced evacuation.
فانت ما بتتكلم هون بمحكمة عادلة عشان تيجي انك انت بني ادم في عندك مشكلة مع بني ادم بالبيت. لا يا عمي، هون الناس بيقول لك انت لازم تطلعوا من بيوتكم. يعني انت هون عملية تهجير.
Another legal justification put forward to legitimize the occupation is the absentee property law. This law was passed by the Israeli government in 1950. The law paves the way for the expropriation of lands belonging to Muslim foundations and houses belonging to Palestinians who had to leave their lands due to the occupation. These properties, which come under the state control, are then transferred to Jewish settlers.
They use the method of what the so-called the absentee properties law that made that for Palestinians that they lose their identity, they lose their permission to stay in the country. They take the houses or the properties of those people and give it to the settlers.
Its physical location is a top reason that makes Silvan significant. The main motivation of far-right Jews is to dominate the southern part of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is considered sacred according to the Jewish faith.
We are just a few meters far away from Al-Aqsa. The Wadi Hilwe, here in Wadi Hilwe, they consider it as the entrance to the Temple Mount, where they want to destroy Al-Aqsa and to replace it with the Temple Mount. So therefore, for them, it's very important to empty Silwan, the southern side, from Al-Aqsa to empty it from Palestinians and Muslims.
It is said that there are around 400 Jewish settlers in Silvan. With the increase in the number of houses with the Israeli flags, the psychological pressure on Palestinians is also rising. Rajabi, who has been living in Silvan for decades, is one of the residents.
بالنسبة لنا كتير بأثر من شغلة. أول شيء شغلة معنوية، بأثر إنه على الأطفال اللي عنا، بأثر إنه في عندهم حراسة، في عندهم شرطة، في عندهم بأثر علينا كتير من الشغلات اليومية يعني كلا لا عندك راحة نفسية ولا عندك استقرار بيتي.
Another way to increase the Jewish population in the neighborhood is to use Arab intermediaries. Properties are bought from Palestinians by these intermediaries at high prices. Then it falls into the hands of Jewish settlers. The role of intermediaries is to create the perception for Palestinian homeowners that they are selling their homes to Arabs.
I want to buy the house. I want to marry. He will find a story to convince you that he wants to establish his life here.
At the center of these allegations is the United Arab Emirates and exiled Mohammed Dahlan, who is originally from Palestine. In recent years, research on the subject points out that Dahlan and UAE-linked businessmen act as middlemen in the exchange of property.
Their own man working here in the area, he was saying he wants to buy the houses here in order to make guest house for those Muslims that they come from all over the world. And he bought a lot of houses, 27 houses. And all of a sudden that all went to the Irad institution, to the settlers. And they are still trying to buy houses, and especially Mohammed Dahlan today, he's also very, very active in buying houses in Silwan and Jerusalem in order to hand it to the settlers.
Israel's relocation policy reveals yet another double standard. Israel does not recognize the right of return to the displaced and relocated Palestinian refugees. Nearly 1.5 million Palestinians live far away from their houses in refugee camps. The political climate in the country also contributes to the continuation of the occupation policy. A group led by Bezalel Smotrich, the head of the far-right religious Zionist party, has recently raided the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood.
So I think if Silwan is gone, you can forget about the rest of Jerusalem.
بالنسبة لنا نقول احنا مش رايحين نطلع لأنه هم بأساس الدنيا. القضايا عندهم قضايا عنصرية، مش إنه أنت بتتكلم إما يتكلموا معك على قضايا هي بأساس الدنيا. هم كل اللي بيحكوا عملوا ادعاء إنه هاي الأرض كانت لهم على زمان تركيا، الأرض هذه كانت لهم على زمان يطلعونا من بيوتنا. إحنا عمالنا مش المحاكم اللي عمالها بتهاجم فينا، هو المستوطنين بيهاجموا فينا من طريق المحاكم.
Silvan neighborhood has also become one of the bases of Israel's unceasing relocation policy. It does not seem like the struggle will be over for the Palestinian residents in the area.